And Coach Denman, I mean, you want to talk about a wild card team? I think Champion's just as much of a wild card as anyone in that MVAC. But Coach, how are we doing today?
Oh, pretty good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. As we like to start off with all of our coaches with sort of a meet the team segment. So tell us a little bit about what you guys are returning this year and some new faces that you might think might have a big impact this year.
So we've got three returning letter-winning seniors in Keegan McDermott and Trayvon Edwards and Mason McKinney. And so we really expect those three to kind of lead us as we move forward here. And then I've got a really strong junior class. I've got about 6 or 7 juniors there. Kind of the big varsity set of that juniors would be like Joey Fell, Nick Vesey, and Brett Channel. So really we'll be pretty balanced between juniors and seniors leading us all the way.
Coach, this was a team last year, starting off the season kind of rocky, but they went on a big win streak and really finished the season pretty dang strong and took down a lot of big teams at MVAC. What can you take away from the way you ended that last season to carry into momentum for this year?
Well, one of the big things that kind of hampered us to start the year last year was injuries. I mean, I think we had 4 seniors that, if we'd have had this conversation in July, would have said they'd have started. And at the first game, we started 2 seniors and we had a bunch of young kids that had never played varsity basketball before. And so just being able to gel throughout the year, I think was a big thing for us. And then we kind of caught stride and could keep going. And I think being able to return a lot of that young core now is going to allow us to kind of build on that and hopefully keep a streak like that going to start this year.
Coach, we were talking a little bit about it before you came on about how tough this MVAC is going to be, especially both sides on the division. Talk to me a little bit about navigating your way through this, how it's going to help this team grow first off, and what your team kind of needs to do to try to grab a piece of that MVAC crown at the end of the year.
One thing that we're kind of blessed with, I guess, is we have a lot of out-of-conference games to start us. So we go to Lakeview. We've got Maplewood in there. We've got, I think, 3 or 4 weeks really where we barely see a conference team. And so I think that'll allow us to get, kind of iron out the kicks, see what's really working for us, see where we need to adjust, and hopefully be in a really good stride to start making some noise in this division. One thing that really sticks out is we've got to be mentally and physically tough to play in this group of teams. I mean, you've got a lot of talent. You have a lot of hard work you have to deal with. And and there's rivalries too between, LeBray and Newton Falls. Those games are always loud. And so the kids, you have to stay focused if we're going to have a shot.
And you talk about loud, we're going to be able to have communities back in these gyms and be able to really hear a loud gym at Champion and other gyms across the area. Your gym especially, because it's compact and I know it gets loud in there pretty quick. What is it going to be like to kind of welcome the community back and be able to feed off that crowd's energy when you're at home?
Oh, it'll be great. I mean, everybody dealt with that last year. You had 2 tickets per student or whatever it was. And so you maybe had 70 people in a gym, and a lot of these kids, like I was telling, like these juniors, they've never played, varsity basketball with 400, 500, 600 people in the crowd, cheering for you. You get a steal, you make a layup, the place erupts. And so I'm just really more excited for them to be able to have that this year and enjoy it and really kind of feed off of it as we go out.
What's sort of the selling point for people to come out and watch this Champion boys team and get a glimpse of them this year?
That's a great question. I would say the style of Champion basketball this year is going to be a little different than what most people are accustomed to seeing from Champion. I'm not a Champion native myself. Shout out to the Maplewood Rockets. I'm a Maplewood man through and through. But we're going to have a more aggressive, more in-your-face style of basketball this year with a little more ability for excitement. Maybe is the right thing to do, and it'll definitely be a different style of basketball than what the people at Champion are used to seeing.
Well, you said you're a Maplewood through and through, and you already said that you have Maplewood on that schedule. What's that game going to mean to you? How much weight is that going to carry when you get to go, over to where, the Rockets and try to show them what you're bringing to the Champion Flashes?
When I first walk in that gym, it's going to be weird. You're going to go in the girls' locker room or, the guest locker room. You're going to sit on the other side. It's definitely going to be a a little bit of more emotional for me than the kids for sure. But it'll be fun to go in there and kind of, put my stamp on what champion basketball can do in front of a lot of people that I'm going to know. And, most of everybody that's going to be in that stands knows who I am anyways. And so it'll be emotional for sure, but it'll be exciting nonetheless.
What's sort of the tone you guys are going to need to set to try to get a good start to these non-conference games?
Really, it all is going to start with kind of back to our senior leadership. So we want to really dominate the paint this year. That's our main goal. We want to dominate the paint and then keep everybody else out of it. And so our ability to establish our inside presence with Trey and with Keegan McDermott and a couple other guys like that, taking care of the post and establishing that inside presence, and then being able, when the doubles come, kick it out, knock down some threes, and then on the defensive side of the floor, keeping everybody out of the paint.
We know that coaching high school is about helping these kids grow off the court as much as they do on the court. When guys graduate from Champion and they leave this program, what are some things that you hope that they take away from being with you and being coached by you?
I hope that's a great question. I'd say I hope the biggest thing is that, they can remember that they played for somebody who cared about them, not so much as a statistic, but as, as a man, as growing into a man. And I try to teach these kids every day. We have what I call a thought of the day at the end of practice. And basically that is just something to build on bigger than basketball. We talk about respect and even things just showing up on time, things like that. And I hope that once these kids do leave, the program and go on to bigger and better things outside of high school basketball, then maybe they key on to some of those things that I'm trying to imprint on them that's not basketball oriented.
Coach, looking at this season too, we obviously know there's going to be so many opportunities for growth. And the culture that you guys are trying to set there, what are some of the biggest things you've learned about yourself as a coach and why you want to start implementing into this culture at Champion?
Well, one thing I'll say for sure is I've learned what I'm not good at, more so I would say than what I am good at. And but one of the beauties of that is, we're able to have a varsity assistant, we can have a JV coach, we can have a freshman coach. And so one of the best things I think I've been able to do is hire 3 guys around me who are able to do things that I don't succeed at, or I shouldn't say that I'm getting better at. I've got Derek Morrison as my JV coach. He is a conditioning specialist. He actually was an athlete at Youngstown State. He's got these kids in a level of shape that, I never would have that ability to do. And, my freshman coach, Joe Abramovich, he's a point guard and a shooting guard by trade, and I played inside. So I have his ability to kind of bounce ideas back off of him. What is a guard thinking about in this situation versus what I'm thinking about? And then my varsity assistant, I can't, thank him enough. He has taken care of so many things outside of the court and allowed me to really focus on the kids and on the game. So I think the biggest thing is being able to understand what I'm not good at and put people around me to help build the team in that way. And hopefully the team will see that too and understand, okay, if I can't, if my role is not going to be to go have 20 a night, I can play defense. I can go rebound a basketball. Find what we're good at and really let's build this team together on what we can do well.
And you talked about what a great staff you have there at Champion. Talk a little bit about and go into some of the time that is taken into, the coaching. And I don't think people respect enough. I think they think you guys just show up at a game and yell at the sidelines, and that's pretty much call it a day. So I want to give you the chance to kind of go into all the stuff that you and your staff do to really try to put the best product on the court as possible for these kids.
Well, I'd say the biggest thing that we do that goes unseen goes into our practice plan. And so our goal at any practice is to maintain a level of intensity for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, whatever we're going to do. And so we spend 20 to 30 minutes after every practice. The 4 of us sit down and we say, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do we think practice was today? Were we a 4? Were we an 8? Where were we at? And, just prime example, a couple of days ago, we sat down and we're like, man, we had a 4 today. What was going on? And then we go back through the practice plan and we say, okay, we lost intensity here. This drill didn't have enough time. We need to do a better explaining here. And so then for, that next 15 to 20 minutes, we say, okay, how can we as a staff be better tomorrow? And how can we address any issues that we had today? So, practice is, say 4 to 6. We're in there till 6:45, 7 o'clock saying, okay, tomorrow, here's how we're going to get better. And let's move forward from there, and we'll reevaluate every day. And so I think a lot of people, like you said, they see us on the sidelines. They see us yelling. They like to yell at us if we're not doing something right or we're losing games or anything like that. But it's being able to sit back and say, okay, practice wasn't great today. We're the ones who set the tone. We're the ones who, we make the plan. How can we do a better job to keep the intensity where it needs to be and let these kids learn?
Who are some of your biggest on-court coaches for the team, as far as guys that are the vocal ones during games, the ones that are gonna help set the tone when there isn't the timeouts and there isn't the time to huddle up?
Yeah, I would say on an X's and O's side of things, I'd say my point guard Joey Fell is really taking on that leadership as far as X's and O's go. But then also on the emotional side of things, Trey has stepped up tremendously in the last even 2 weeks on, if the intensity's starting to dip a little bit, he's getting into people like, hey, let's pick it up. Let's make it up on this possession. Let's keep going. And like you said, when we get to games, especially fourth quarter, I'm out of timeouts. It's going to come from them, and I can just hope that we've prepared them enough that when those situations arise and we need another level of intensity, that we can get it at that time.
No surprise at all that Joey Fell, the quarterback, is going to be one of your leaders. I mean, it just lends itself to being a leader. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to come on and preview Champion boys basketball. We look forward to covering you all season, and we look forward to success, and we also look forward to talking to you again real soon.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, guys, for having me on. I appreciate it.